Konnichiwa, Pakusei-tachi. Welcome to Puppy-Sensei Digs Deep, the series where I do a deep dive into an interesting topic in Japanese, all in the hopes that I can inspire you to chase your stars and achieve your goals with the Japanese language. I'm Puppy-Sensei, your puppy girl Japanese teacher VTuber. Today, we're digging into Japanese terms related to dogs. That feels like the best place to start, considering the fact that, that I'm Puppy-Sensei. So let's get into it. Ikimashou. Japan has a long history with dogs. The relationship between people and dogs in Japan dates back to the Jomon period. Dating back to this period, dog bones have been found buried with as much care as human bones were, offering us insight into the value that people placed on dogs at this time. Of course, that makes really good sense. Humans and dogs have had a symbiotic working relationship going all the way back to the time when we were still huddled in caves. And there's no reason to believe that a relationship like that wouldn't have developed in relatively isolated places like Japan as well. Dogs were depicted in famous Japanese tales like Genji Monogatari and the Pillow Book of Sei Shonagon, and there is significant history of using dogs in Japan in conjunction with the sport of hunting and even military training. Like horses, dogs have long been seen as workers who helped maintain societal order and performed various helpful tasks. Somewhere along the way, though, the relationship with dogs in Japan absolutely shifted. Working breeds are a lot rarer now, and dogs have taken on the role of beloved family members far more so than helpful assistants in modern Japan. We might want to contrast this with other parts of the world where dogs are still more often than not kind of playing the role of property guards. For a long time, dogs were the most popular pet in Japan, with estimates ranging from 20% to even higher of Japanese households having a pet doggo. Although there is some evidence that kitty cats have recently overtaken dogs as the most popular Japanese pet. I'm not bitter about that though. I love cats. I happen to be allergic, but some of my best friends are cats. When we think about the native breeds of dogs in Japan, we're actually talking about Nihonken. Nihonken literally means Japanese dogs. You might know the Shiba Inu or the Akita, there are a few others. Now, I suspect that when you see the third kanji here, you're thinking Inu. And that's great! If you recognize that kanji correctly as the one for dog or dogs, you should be proud of yourself. But this Inu kanji will frequently be pronounced ken in a variety of different situations. For example, we can think of the Hakkenden. Hakkenden is a Japanese book series about 8 legendary warriors who were born from dog spirits. It's actually a very, very long and really famous series. We also see ken in Modo-ken, which means a seeing eye dog. And we see it in Ryo-ken, a hunting dog. I do know a little about that. I happen to be something of a hunting dog myself. However, you do have cases where there are some words that use the inu reading of this kanji instead, such as koinu, a puppy, inu goya, a kennel, or make inu, an underdog, literally a lose dog, a dog that's destined to lose. Underdog. We're not going to spend too much time today talking about the nuances between onyomi and kunyomi pronunciations, but still, it is interesting. One of the things that I do want to cover today relates to the way that people talk to their dogs in Japan. Much like we do in the West, people in Japan tend to use language that we might think of as baby talk when speaking to their precious pets. Actually, that's a whole topic that I would like to cover in a future lesson. Ikujigo, or baby talk in Japanese. I might eventually do a whole episode of Puppy-Sensei Digs Deep just on that topic, but we'll definitely be touching on some of those concepts today. A good example of this is wan-chan. Wanchan is kind of a sweet and a bit babyish way to refer to a doggo. Wan is the noise that dogs make in Japanese. So we might say bow wow, but in Japan it's wan. And then the chan in wanchan is kind of a diminutive honorific. You have probably heard it before, right? You use it for, little things, cute things like that. So wanchan can be used to talk about dogs, as in, wanchan ga imasu ka? Do you have a doggy? I should note that wanchan is used by people of all ages. I have had businessmen ask me about my wanchan. Yeah? So it's not just limited to kids. However, I have also heard little kids refer to a dog as just a wan, kind of the way that kids in the States might talk about having a bark or a woof at home. I really like referring to dogs as barks. I have 2 barks at home. Well, 3 if you count me. You also might call a doggy iko. To be called a good dog, what sweet bliss. When we say good dog in Japanese, the most common way to do that is to say iko, which really means something more like good baby. The ko there means child, and it's the same ko from the word kodomo. It's also the ending of many women's names, first names, in Japanese. I don't think we'll get into that today, but that's a whole other kettle of fish. Many Japanese words used as dog commands are going to be short, casual, and sometimes a little bit stern. I honestly think that this actually makes them really good to learn. I think that these are good words to learn, but not because I suggest that you ever use them when you're talking to people. Except what 2 consenting adults get into in their spare time, that's none of my business. But no, I think that these are good words to learn because they're made for doggos to understand, which means they tend to be short, to the point, and not overly complicated, and all that together makes them pretty easy to learn. So let's learn some dog commands today. Oide. Oide means to come, as in, come here, puppy. You sometimes hear it reduplicated, as in, oide, oide. If, for some reason, you wanted to be very specific, you can also say, kochi oide, kochi oide. That means come here, specifically here, come to where I am. Although I frankly doubt that your dog is going to care very much one way or another. Still, though, it should be noted that oide is kind of interesting. As weird as this sounds, oide is actually sonkeigo, honorific speech in Japanese. Sonkeigo is the kind of language that you use to elevate somebody else when you're talking to them, or talking about them. When spoken as an honorific, oide can mean either to come or to go, and usually refers to the actions of other people who are in higher social positions than you. But actually, when used as a dog command, oide is not really keigo. Actually, as a dog command, oide is a casual form, and it's an abbreviation of the command oide nasai, which is really kind of a soft command to tell somebody to come here, so that's why we usually use it for dogs. Oide, oide koinu-chan. The next command is osuwari. Osuwari means to sit. If you'd like to tell your dog to sit, this is the most common command that you're going to use. Osuwari. This is also definitely ikujigo. This is baby talk. If you notice the honorific o here, then good for you. Would you like a treat? Most dog commands do not have honorifics and are generally quite casual forms, in spite of the fact that both of the commands that we've seen thus far started with o. Suwaru is a Japanese verb that means to sit or to be seated, and we're seeing that in osuwari, right? You sometimes hear suwatte kudasai in Japanese classrooms. That means please be seated, suwatte kudasai. When talking to a dog, instead of saying osuwari, you may occasionally also hear shitto as a dog command. But I think you have to be kind of careful with that one. It can be easily misinterpreted to messy results. Hanase is a dog command that means to speak. Bark! There was a time when I really thought about adding redeems to my streams where all the words were in Japanese and included dog commands like this one. Like having a redeem that was like, Hanase, and then I would have to be like, bark! I demurred from this idea for 2 reasons. One, I didn't want new people coming into my streams and then looking at the redeems and being like, why, this is all in Japanese. And then they would make some kind of joke about Moonspeak or something and I would get upset. And also 2, it is my humble opinion that there really is only so much bark song that y'all can take. This is my bark song. It's my bark song. And I bark, bark, bark. And I bark, bark, bark. Anyway, you're seeing hanase here, which includes the kanji from hanasu, or hanashimasu. If you don't already know, hanasu means to talk, usually collaboratively, to talk together, to have a conversation. We want to contrast this with iu, which means to say, as in one directionally. I say this, right? So, when you tell your dog hanase, you're really saying, have a conversation with me, and that makes us dogs very happy. Tanomu means to beg. Tanomu. Tanomu. This is actually a kind of word that you can, in fact, use in your everyday life. You can use it to ask for something, to request something, and in some cases, you can use it in a way that kind of means I'm relying on you to get something done. By itself, this kanji can convey the idea of being reliable, and we see this kanji in compounds like shinrai, meaning to trust. Irai, meaning a request. If that request is in written format, right? If somebody hands you a document and says this is a request form, that's going to be iraisho. Iraisho. Yeah? And we also see this same kanji in burai, without trust. That means villainous or untrustworthy. Tanomu is also a very effective command on me because I'm pretty good at giving big puppy dog eyes. The next command is ote. Ote literally means hand. Hand. Ote. It's got that same honorific o, which shows politeness, but it's simple, and really, this is only a noun. You're not saying a full sentence like, ote o onegai shimasu, or ote o agete. For that reason, it's really similar to just saying paw in the way that we do as a dog command in English. The meaning still kind of implies the idea of shake, like a handshake, but explicitly, you're really just saying hand, paw, ote. Mottekoi is probably my very favorite dog command. I like it for 3 reasons. I like it because I enjoy the way it sounds. Mottekoi! Mottekoi! It's fun. It's a fun word to say. I also like it because it's pretty interesting at a grammatical level. The motte here is really motsu, meaning to have, to grab, to hold, or to grasp close to you. Motte here is in the te form, which is the continuative form, and that continuative form is allowing you to link motte with kuru, the verb meaning to come. Here it's koi, and there are reasons for that. Kuru just happens to be an irregular verb, but motte koi grammatically kind of means grab it and come back. Get it and return to me. That's pretty neat from a linguistic point of view. And finally, I also love motte koi because The next command we're going to learn is mate. Mate means please wait or stay. It comes from matsu, which is the Japanese verb meaning to wait for something. This is usually a very difficult command for puppers to learn because, like, what if I have the zoomies and you expect me to just stay here? Ah! The concept of waiting is something that we see a whole lot in pre-modern Japanese literature. There are a lot of stories from the Heian period that involve women waiting listlessly for their husbands and becoming very sad because their husband may be off, with somebody else or something like that. And so the idea of waiting and therefore crying into your sleeves until you have cried a river is something that shows up a lot in that period's literature. There's also a whole lot of artistic imagery that relates to matsu as a verb and matsu meaning pine tree. So sometimes in an art piece, we can see matsu, a pine tree, and it immediately evokes that feeling of nostalgia or that feeling of like listless waiting for somebody to show up, waiting for someone to come to your door and whisk you away. Actually, this kind of pun really works in English too, right? Matsu means pine, which could also be like to pine for someone, right? To pine for or to wait for. So matsu and matsu, pine and pine. When I think of mate as a dog command, I cannot help but think of Hachiko, history's most loyal little dog. Just look at him. He's so majestic. Honestly, goals. I kind of want Hachiko to be like my doggy inspiration. I want to be just like him. I hope I can be so loyal. Next is catchy. Catchy means catch. You can use this with people too, you know. You can tell somebody catchy, right? Or you can catchy osuru, right? You can play catch. But I probably wouldn't, like, surprise your boss with it, right? I wouldn't just walk into your boss's office and be like, "Here, boss, catch this fork. Catchy!" I think that's probably a great way to get fired. I'm not speaking from experience. As much as I love motekoi, I cannot catchy. Seriously, I'm very, very, very bad at it. Actually, one of my dogs is also really, really bad at it. If you throw something to her, she will quite literally just watch as it sails for her face until it inevitably hits her right in the nose. She's a good dog, but she is exceptionally lazy when it comes to playing catchy. If you want your dog to let go of something that she has in her mouth, you can say, "Chodai, chodai." That kind of means give it, let go of it, and give it here. This happens a lot when we're playing Fetch the Stick. See, we dogs are not fond of letting go of the stick. The thing is, we're really happy to go get the stick for you the first time that you throw it, right? We'll bring it back to you because we know that you dropped that stick, and you need that stick. So we'll go get it for you, and we'll happily bring it back, and we'll even give it to you the first time. But the second time that you throw it, we get the idea in our heads that you're probably doing this on purpose, and that's why the second time, we do not like to give the stick back to you. No, you're just gonna drop your stick again. I know you, human. You're gonna drop your stick, and then I'm gonna have to go retrieve it for you. I'm just gonna hold it in my mouth. If you need it, I'll give it to you. Chodai relates very closely to itadaku. That's the verb from itadakimasu. You probably know itadakimasu as let's eat, but if we want to be very literal, itadakimasu really means let's receive, as in let's receive this food. So itadakimasu is something that you say at the beginning of your meal, and it kind of means like, I got it, you gave it to me, thank you. So chodai really implies the idea of receiving an item from your dog, namely the stick. Now, if you only care that your dog drops something, like maybe we got into some yummy garbage and we're trying to sneak away with it, but you happen to catch us, then you can say hanase. Hanase, hanase. Hanase here means drop it. The kanji that we see in this hanase means to separate something, to pull things apart. We also see it in the word for to get divorced, right? To be separated. You might notice that hanase sounds exactly the same as the command that I taught you earlier for speak. Hanase, speak. Hanase, drop it. Do you want to know why that's not a problem? We can't bark with our mouths full, so problem solved either way. If you say hanase and then I bark, I'm not going to be holding garbage in my mouth anymore. If you say hanase, as in drop it, then you get the point. Likewise, if you wanted your dog to not grab something in the first place, you could say hirowanaide, leave it, hirowanaide. Basically, that means don't pick it up. If you want to use this verb to discuss picking something up, like in your day-to-day life, like picking up garbage or picking up something that you found on the ground, you can use hiro, meaning to pick up, to find and retrieve, something like that. The next command is naka ni hairu. Naka ni hairu. This one is easy. Naka can mean inside, like the inside of your house. The opposite would be soto. So go inside is naka ni hairu. Literally, enter the inside. Go outside would be sotoe, in the direction of outside. Go out, sotoe, go out. I didn't actually want to include go outside in this list of words for today because I was kind of afraid that I would see sotoe and then I would want to go outside. Class, do you like to give your dogs hugs? Well, apparently maybe you shouldn't. ? There's some dubious research on hugging dogs that suggests that dogs might actually feel kind of uncomfortable about hugs. Personally, I love hugs, so for me, you can always say dako. Dako means to hug, right? It's a command. It says, hug me, dako. Yeah. To me, anytime, I will give hugs. I love hugs. The kanji in dako is the same one that we see in dakishimeru, to embrace tightly, to hold, to cuddle. You hear dakishimeru a whole lot in Japanese songs. Interestingly, we also see a kind of similar kanji in some words that mean like packaging, putting things in boxes, or wrapping them in plastic. And so the idea of being firmly bound is also kind of implicit in the kanji that we see in dako. We also see the same kanji in dakimakura. Dakimakura, that's a body pillow, a pillow that you hug. What do you think, class? Would it be weird to have a body pillow of your sensei? I don't know, but if that's something that people want, we'll try to market it. If you want to buy a dakimakura of your puppy-sensei, then we'll see if we can get it done. Next is haitachi. Haitachi means high five. I think haitachi, high touch, is a really, really adorable way to say high five, actually. It's super cute, and it's not just limited to dogs. I have heard, like, grown men, like old men being like, haitachi, and I think that's really, really cute, because it kind of sounds like baby talk, but it's not really baby talk. Having said that, especially with younger people, I do hear high five a lot more often these days, which kind of makes me wonder if haitachi is going to end up being replaced. That'll make me a little sad because I think haitachi is really adorable. We can reclaim it. Okay, so the next one is tsuite kuru. Tsuite kuru. In English, we would say heel. In my humble opinion, I think heel is such a very weird word. Why do we command our dogs to heel? It's very odd to me. Like, I get it. I understand it conceptually. I know that it means, like, you want your dog to be at heel and you want us to be, like, right by your leg. but isn't your heel the back part of your foot? And so does that mean that we're supposed to walk behind you or beside you? Shouldn't the command be calf? I don't know. Anyway, in Japanese, when you want your dog to heel, you say tsuite kuru, right? The tsuite part of this is actually tsuku, which means to cling to. And then the kuru part means to come, as we saw earlier. So tsuite kuru can be interpreted as come along close with me, stick close to my side. It's kind of got a similar structure to motte koi, right? It's that te form verb followed by kuru, the word meaning to come. Okay, the next word is one that means crawl. It's hofuku zenshin. Hofuku zenshin. Hofuku zenshin means to crawl. Actually, it literally means to crawl with your whole body. Zenshin means whole body, and hofuku is a noun that means creeping, crawling, sneaking along. So really, hofuku zenshin means to sneak with your body. I imagine this command is actually really, really good to teach young dogs who are hoping to become hunting dogs. Really handy skill for sneaking up on those ducks. Curse you, ducks. Also, hofuku zenshin is apparently really hard for me to say for some reason, and it triggers my stutter quite badly, so... Anyway, I made it through without a problem, so yay for me. Ojigi is certainly one of those words that we don't really have a dog command concept for in English. And ojigi is a bow. Technically, ojigi is a noun. The verbal form would be ojigi o suru, do a bow. Now, from what I'm told, ojigi can be a dog command, but I've never actually seen a dog in Japan do an ojigi before. I have, on the other hand, seen the deer in Nara Park do a very majestic bow. I mean, when the deer in Nara Park bow, they actually sometimes like fully genuflect. They will like make this weird motion with their front leg that really looks like they're doing like a full-on bow, and it's, I don't know, it's pretty cool. It's neat to behold. I cannot, on the other hand, imagine a dog being trained to do that with their paw while bowing. I just don't see that happening. But hey, prove me wrong. Alright, well, we learned a whole lot today. Look at all this new vocabulary that we learned. If you want, use these new vocabulary and add them to your study cycle. These might be words that you want to know, and so I highly recommend that, you know, add them to your flashcards, practice them, and see what you can learn on your own as well. I hope that you like this new series. I'm really looking forward to spending more time digging deep into some fascinating topics with the Japanese language. The next video in this series is going to look at Japanese counterwords. There are a lot of Japanese counterwords. I'm not kidding when I say there are Japanese counterword dictionaries. So that's going to be quite a lot for us. Anyway, I hope you're looking forward to it, or dreading it, or both? I don't know. For today, though, thanks for hanging out with me as I dug into some interesting facts about the Japanese language. Please take care of yourself, and if you haven't already done so, please hit that like and subscribe button. I really need the positive support in this difficult time of our world's history. Alright then, well, until next time, mata ne!
Thanks for watching. I'm glad you watched until the end. You can find my other content here. Also, it would make me really happy if you would check out jinxedgaming.com. If you're into zero-calorie gaming fuel and Oshi cups, you will love their products. Puppy-Sensei recommends the tangy strawberry flavor. It's so yummy. Remember to use code SENSEI at checkout for 10% off your order. Can't wait to see you next time. Mata ne!